everybody,
Good day to you.
and welcome to week 2. And we're so delighted to have you with us. We're really enjoying this journey with you, and we're enjoying chatting to you on the Zoom calls and seeing your posts on the Journey to Freedom Facebook group and getting your emails and your messages. So thank you very much for that.
Yeah, it's great. So we're actually entering now our third week. Our first week was the foundation week, and then last week was labeled week 1, and now we're moving into week 2. And this is a very important week. It's really, I mean, we've looked at the foundation, but this is the foundation of our lives this week, because we're going to be looking at who are you really this week. And you know, if you want to move out into the world and on any journey, you've got to know where you're at. So the first part of this week, we're going to look at where you're at.
Yeah, and it's really a week of self-inquiry. It's we've called it self-discovery, and some of you may have done a fair amount of that already. And we encourage you, even if you have done that, and even if you have journaled and done workshops and you've done this stuff before, take it to another level this week. So really look at the questions that we're asking and go deeper maybe than you've gone before. So don't just answer it with a surface, I know this. Really go deeper. This is self-inquiry. And it's based on, many wise people throughout the years saying that knowing yourself is really important. I mean, Aristotle said knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. Because how do you actually navigate the journey if you don't really know who you are? And I think a lot of the time we hurtle from one thing to the next, from one achievement to the next achievement, or from one responsibility to the next one, without just stopping and saying, who am I? What's important to me? What gives my life meaning? How am I unique? So the first 4 days actually, we're focusing on you as a unique being. How you shine your uniqueness out into the world. And then on day 5, we'll introduce you to something which will take you deeper in there to who you really are beneath those things. But do it in sequence. So really don't jump to day 5 until you've done the others, because it's a journey and you can't leap to the destination without actually moving through the places that you're going through.
It's not about the destination.
Yeah.
It's about the process. It's about the day-to-day experiences that we have on this journey. So it's not about getting anywhere. Don't look at it that way. It's not about that at all.
No.
But the importance here, as Michelle was saying, is knowing yourself. And back in Greece, in the classical Greek era, the temple of Delphi, I think it was, had the words above the temple, know thyself, know thyself. And it was a very famous temple, and had an oracle there. You'd go in there to find out about the future. But people didn't realize that the actual, all the wisdom was there already. Know thyself. You don't need to know about the future. The future is unimportant. If you know yourself, then time is irrelevant, because you are the timeless. You're the permanent essence of consciousness. So that we need to investigate that first. So as Michelle said, the first part of the week we're going to be looking at who we think we are. It's the environment we find ourselves placed in, which has a major role in forming us as human beings, and knowing ourselves as human beings is really, really important.
Yeah, even where we're born, the country that we're born in, that shapes us. Our parents shape us, our siblings shape us, our schooling shapes us. It all feeds into how we react and how we respond and what our beliefs are. So our experiences are very much part of who we are to a degree. So, just consider your uniqueness, because in a world of about, I think it's the last count was 7.7 billion people, there's only one of you. Only one. Only one person has your fingerprint, your iris, your brain. Only one of you has your feelings, your life experiences, your karmic journey. Only one of you has your experience of your parents, because you might have the same parents as your siblings, but you might have very different experiences of them.
Yeah.
Only one of you ever, only you came out of the womb the way that you came out of the womb. Only you have your unique talents and your challenges, your feelings, your emotions. So it's the starting point. It really is the starting point, because once you know that and can accept yourself with all of those things, then that's a really strong kind of bedrock to build the rest of this journey on. Because you carry in this incarnation, in this body, this is what you're here for, and you have a unique spark of light that is yours. How you express yourself into the world is completely your choice, and it's unique.
Yeah.
So
as Michelle was saying, you stand on a unique ground, which gives you a unique perspective. Even where you were born in sequence with your siblings. I'm the middle child, and that gives me a certain perspective. If you're an older child, you tend to have it a bit rougher in that your parents don't know what to do with this new bundle of flesh that they've got there, and I think parents tend to make more mistakes with the older one. By the time it gets to number 7 or number 8, it's old hat now. They know what to do with the children. So where you appear, the younger one is generally the spoilt one. It's the more lax one. I mean, not always, but I find generally the eldest one tends to take on the most responsibility. Not always, but sometimes. The middle child, well, we're somewhere between. We're not too sure where we are. So even that gives us a unique perspective on life, and we need to investigate that. And so these first few days, these first 4 modules this week are really about an investigation of self, so that we know more about, and we admit our frailties, and we also we look at what we're good at. We look at the good that we have to offer the world and those around us. So it's good to have that perspective. So it's a very important week. Yeah.
So enjoy it. Go through each day. Try and spread it out so that you do 1 chapter a day. If you can't do that, do 2 chapters a day. But spread it out, and obviously you're still going to be doing the meditation daily. That's very, very important. Writing in your journal daily is important. It's a practice. And the more you get into that, the more it becomes a tool that you can really use for self-inquiry, actually. So that you know where you're at any given moment. Because if you don't, how do you navigate your way forward? You need to know where you are now, so that you can actually see where you're going to a degree. So this is an important week, and don't discount it, even though you think that you know the answers.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been doing this for years, and I still come up with new stuff when I ask these questions, and just go deeper into self-inquiry.
Yeah, it is important. And there also is to try and make it a daily ritual, so that you don't, wait until the last day and then cram it all in. That's where I used to study at school. This isn't about that. This is about creating maybe a new habit in your life. So every morning you will spend maybe 20 minutes, maybe half an hour in the morning in a sacred space. We've spoken about putting a candle, putting some sacred objects there, and having your journal and having your meditation right there in the morning, preferably even before the sun rises in the morning. You make it a habit. This becomes a non-negotiable habit in your life. And I think this is the most important part, is to make that commitment to a journey on a daily basis. We mentioned last time about the importance of filling your bank account up in the morning with peace, so that when you have the challenges throughout the day, you've got this resource within you to draw on. And if you don't do that, you wake up in the morning and you're only half full, and by the time it gets to lunchtime, you're completely bankrupt of this energy, this spiritual energy, this peaceful energy within you. So make it a habit in the morning to get up maybe earlier than you would normally do, 20 minutes, half an hour, and do this spiritual work. Most successful people in the world, people who've made a big impact in the world, have dedicated an hour or 2 of spiritual work every morning. It is important. It is important for you, for your unfoldment at this time, but it's also important for the world around you, because if you're more centered, if you've done your work in the morning, you will go into the day in a more creative way, more centered way, and that will ripple out on the work that you do and the people that you interact with. So it's a really important journey. Making a commitment to do it first thing every morning is advisable. It really is advisable. Yeah.
Absolutely. And also keep your intention going. So that Sankalpa that you found or revealed itself last week, keep that going. Bring that into your meditations. Bring that into your day. It might change. It might evolve into something. It might go shorter. It might change a bit. It's fine. But use that daily, because that's also, it's embedding into you the more you actually repeat it. So it's also really important is not to forget about that, because that's part of this as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And just another thing to remember is that, the day is very much a masculine energy. It's about doing, and the night is a feminine energy. It's about holding and being. And just before sunrise, there's a balancing between the yin and the yang, between the day and the night. And that's an opening for spiritual connection. So most traditions, they do, pre-sunrise meditations or prayers. And so making that a habit, and it's quite easy this time of the year in the southern hemisphere anyway, because the sun's rising later. So you don't have to get up off bed too early. Northern hemisphere, maybe a bit difficult now because the sun is rising very early. But try and make it a habit to do it definitely before you start your day of doing this.
Yeah, one thing that I just wanted to mention is if you come to a point in the journaling which asks you a question like, what are your fears, for example, which you would have actually seen in the Sankalpa week, don't avoid that, because those are often signposts for you. But you also don't have to immerse yourself in it. So you can be the witness and say, yes, I see that I still have this. I see that this is a belief system that I have that doesn't serve me. You don't have to go spiraling down into that belief system or into a depression about it or feel shameful about it. Because stuff is coming up for people. We're realizing that we maybe not as disciplined as we'd like to do, or we feel that we're falling apart, or we're falling behind. Don't worry about that. Just notice it. But don't then go into self-recrimination about it. Just notice it. Interesting that I always avoid this. Why is that? Why do you avoid the one thing that might help you to actually become free? That's a good question. Rather than hammering yourself for it, just notice it. That's self-inquiry in itself, without judgment. So it's just being able to see it. I still have anxiety, I still have anger, I still have sadness, whatever that is. And you always will, because these things come and go. And this is where I sabotage myself. It's quite interesting to know. But you don't have to beat yourself up about it. In fact, don't beat yourself up about it, because that doesn't do any good.
Yeah. Part of the self-inquiry is to get under the mind, beneath the mind's judgments. Yeah. And so the mind will come out and always judge. It judges you and it judges others. In fact, how you judge others is ultimately how you're judging yourself. And this is a journey to freedom. It's freedom from these subconscious programmed judgments that we have within us. And so part of that is if you come up with a fear or an anxiety or something that you don't like about yourself, it's just to be aware of that. It's the awareness that does the healing, not the understanding. You don't have to suppress it. You don't have to avoid it. You don't have to understand it. You just become aware of it. That is all. Just the awareness. That's enough. The mind will come in, though, and try and distract you from pure awareness by judging it. So it puts filters between you and the feeling, or between you and the experience. And that's an avoidance tactic, because the mind wants to maintain control of you, and it does that through judgment, through preferences and whatever it's thinking. And part of this is to move through that, to dissolve the hold that the mind has on you, so that you can experience the true freedom of being.
Well said. So there we go. Enjoy, and well done on getting this far.
Yep.
On this amazing journey.
Yep, and if you use the Facebook, the private Facebook page that we have set up, so that you can interact and encourage each other, because this is a journey we're taking together, and we need community support on the journey. So please add your comments there. Any, if you do a collage or a doodle, and you please share it with the group, put it on there. If you have any questions or any insightful flashes of eureka come to you, please write it down there and share that with the community, because we're baking a cake and we're all the ingredients in the cake, and the richer the cake, well, we have to add our own uniqueness into there. So add that, and it'll be a beautiful journey. And we also have the WhatsApp group for sharing messages that we need to share.
Yeah, and it really is nice if you can attend the Zoom meeting, if you can make an appointment with yourself, set that as an intention, as a very clear intention, as you would if you had a business meeting, or as you would if you had a very important engagement with someone. This is an engagement with yourself and the community. So, you can catch up afterwards, but it is not as powerful. It is more powerful when you're actually there, and you're engaging, and there's a live energy. Even though we can't see you in the real room, there is still a live energy on those calls. So just do your best to actually set that intention and be there if you can.
Yeah. And if you have any challenges, just email us, WhatsApp us, and we'll guide you through that. Thank you for being with us on this journey. We're enjoying it, and hopefully you are too.
Yeah, we'll catch up with you on day 5.